Genius Narrator here with Harriet Hanson Robinson to talk about her experience in the strike of 1836. Harriet, if you don't mind, what was it like in Lowell? Well, in 1832, Lowell was little more than a factory village. 5 corporations were started and the cotton mills belonging to them were in building. There were offerings of high wages for all classes of workpeople. From there, the news spread like wildfire. Oh, well, what were the girls like in the mills? The early mill girls were of different ages, most between 16 to 25 years old. The young ones were called doffers, who would remove full bobbins of thread from spinning frames and replace them with empty ones. They worked for about 15 minutes in an hour, and found leisure in the rest of the time. The working hours for all extended from 5 in the morning to 7 at night, with a half hour each for breakfast and dinner. In fact, I was a bobbin doffer in my youth. Well, I'm quite sure being a bobbin doffer was diverting, but I did hear of a strike in 1836. Ah, yes, one of the first strikes that ever took place in this country was in Lowell in 1836, when it was announced that the wages were to be cut down. Great indignation was felt, and it was decided to strike, or turn out, in Massey. The mills were shut down, and the girls went from their several corporations in procession to the grove on Chapel Hill, and listened to incendiary speeches from some early labor reformers. My own recollection of this strike, or turnout as it was called, is very vivid. I worked in a lower room where I had heard the proposed strike fully, if not vehemently, discussed. Ooh! They're going to cut our wages again! Again? Are you serious? Why should we stand for this oppression? We hardly get 25 cents a week. Why does this make any sense? I had been an ardent listener to what was said against this attempted oppression on the part of the corporation, and naturally I took sides with the strikers. This is ridiculous! Yeah! The corporation is cheap! Yeah! And so I joined in. Let's turn out! Yeah! Turn out! Woohoo!
Wait for me!
When the day came on which the girls were to turn out, those in the upper room started first, and so many of them left that our mill was shut down at once. When the girls in my room stood irresolute, uncertain what to do, asking each other, "What would you do? I don't know. Should we turn out? I don't know. What do we do?" I, who began to think they would not go out after all their talk, became impatient. You know what? I don't care what you do. I am going to turn out whether anyone else does or not. So they followed. Yay! Turn out! Turn out! Hooray! The long line that followed me, I was more proud than I have ever been since at any success I may have achieved, and more proud than I shall ever be again until my own beloved state gives to its women citizens the right of suffrage. How exciting! Well, what happened after that? Oh, the agent of the corporation, where I was working at the time, took some small revenges on the supposed ringleaders. On the principle of sending the weaker to the wall, my mother was turned away from her boarding house, that functionary saying, "Mrs. Hanson, you couldn't prevent the older girls from turning out, but your daughter's a child, and her you could control. You're fired." Oh, now I'm out of a job. How else am I going to support my 4 children? It is hardly necessary to say that so far, this strike did no good. Oh my goodness! And then what happened? Well, the dissatisfaction subsided, and though the authorities did not accede to their demands, the majority returned to work. After a time, as the wages became more and more reduced, the best portion of the girls left, until there were very few of the old guard left, and thus the status of the factory population of New England gradually became what we know it to be today. Wow! And there you have it, the storytelling of the Lowell Mill strike of 1836, Thank you very much, Harriet. Oh, it's quite all right. This is extraneous narrator, signing off.